Titans, go!
Hello again, everyone. Welcome back to Titan Talk, the Titans podcast. I'm one of your co-hosts, Charles Skaggs, back in Titans Tower. Once again, ready to talk more Titans Season 3 with my wonderful co-host, wonderful friend, and someone who is being quite the sounding board for my frustrations right now. DJ Nick. How you doing, Nick?
I'm doing well, Charles. And hey, that's what friends are for, right? You know,
well, I hope
we're
so.
We're here to vent, you vent to your friends, and hopefully they understand you and listen to you. And I totally get your frustration. But been really.
I will try not to be like Scarecrow and break down and cry in front of you as you're giving me therapy.
or try and throttle me or break my, my neck or something of this nature.
Yeah.
When I give, I'll give you a yogurt, but don't kill me if I give you a yogurt, okay?
Well, that's going to be a very good trick considering you're in Italy and I'm in the United States. But
exactly, it'd be a very neat trick indeed. No, but I'm super happy.
I'll just send my agents. Yeah.
There you go. No, I mean I'm very happy. We're looking forward to discussing this episode with you, and it's always a fun time. We had quite a bit of a banter off air, which was great, as we are wont to do.
Yeah.
But I guess it's time to. Strap in and talk about this new Titans episode.
That's right. So strap in. We're going to have a bumpy ride. As we talk episode 65 here of Titan Talk, we're going to discuss the episode titled Home, which at least is sort of a title, not a character, which is good. And this was the 8th episode of Titan Season 3, released just a couple of days ago. Of course, September 16th, 2021. Written by Tom Pabst, who previously wrote the episodes Red Hood, Ghosts from, I believe, Season 2, and also Faux Hawk from Season 2. And this was directed by Larnell Stovall, who directed the Season 2 episode Faux Hawk. So I guess they, like their pairing together from Faux Hawk, they decided to go ahead and recreate that here. And this one is interesting because I had some problems with it, as we talked about, but it does bring up, it kind of adapts some material from a very prominent Batman storyline, which we're going to talk about in trivia. And oh, by the way, happy Batman Day, everyone.
Happy Batman Day indeed.
I should mention that because we're quoting this on September 18th, 2021. So I guess, since we're going to be talking Batman talk anyway, instead of Titan talk, what better day to do it on, right, than Batman Day?
Right.
So when's Titans Day? I want to know when that is. When's that? But Batman's kind of more popular, I guess.
Yeah.
So Nick, how about you? Before we get into cast and any guest cast and all that, what's your general reaction to this one? I gather you weren't as enamored with this one as I was.
I was a little lukewarm on this one too, because there were some things which I thought maybe deviated here and there from the path of a good story. I think, though, they may be trying to adjust what was done before, and maybe they noticed that there were some problems and what have you. Granted, all this is filmed and done way beforehand, but it could be that, they're looking back and saying, let's just deviate in a completely different direction and see if that works, see if things are better that way. And I was glad, though, I did have some questions which actually got answered in this episode. So I was so happy. I'm like, oh, why is that? Oh, okay, now they're explaining it. But, yeah, also I think the pacing was a little weird and the editing was a little weird. Mm-hmm. But other than that, there were some really strong performances from quite a few of our actors, which I was very, very happy about.
Yeah, I tend to agree with that, definitely, that there's a little bit of an unevenness to this episode. Some things I thought were pretty good, I particularly liked the conversations between Dick and Tim.
Those were good, yeah.
Those, I think, were one of the highlights of this episode. But then there were things like the whole sequence with Scarecrow talking with his mother that I thought felt completely flat to me and did not work.
Yeah, also because you don't even know her. I mean, in a sense, it's like, should we feel bad because it's his mother? But
Right.
As an audience, it's the first time we see her, so it's hard to maybe have a sort of a feeling for her, if we will, because we don't know if she was an abusive mother, we don't know if she was a kind mother.
Well, that's the impression I got, that she was not very kind, which is why Scarecrow is the way he is.
Most probably. But I will say, Vinnie Kartheiser, another fabulous job. Another job well done, Vinnie.
Okay. Regardless, Vincent Kartheiser, or as you call him, Vinny, because you're so tight.
Yes, of course.
You thought he did
Plus,
a really
I'm
good
Italian.
job.
You know, it's like my cousin Vinny. It makes me
My
think
cousin
of.
Vinny. That's awesome.
Great movie, by the way.
Yeah. Is he a Ute?
Yeah.
It's funny because they actually, there's a segment or a city in Ohio here, Youngstown, Ohio, where I was born.
Oh.
Which is in eastern Ohio, but they tend to say Ute instead of youth there.
Well, nice. And now I would love to have a Marisa Tomei, appearance in Titans just for that reason. Because
Hey, Aunt May crossover.
There you go. Exactly.
There you go. Or Aunt MILF, as lots of us like to call her. Yeah, Aunt MILF.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, before we get down that road, let's try to focus. Gotta focus. Guest cast, new to this obviously, was Deborah Hale as Crane's mother. And it's interesting because they didn't even bother giving her a name. They just titled her Crane's mother. Which shows you the amount of depth they put into this character.
How much they care.
Right, how much they cared. You're like, she gets killed off, so we don't even have to come up with a name for her. She's notable because she was on an episode of American Gods, which is a TV show I kind of miss. I was a little disappointed because I thought it was canceled prematurely before ending the adaptation of the book of the Neil Gaiman novel. But we also get the return of Jay Lycurgo as Tim Drake, who I thought did a really good job in this.
He did.
He was one of the highlights. Eve Harlow as Molly Jensen. And I wanted to mention these two just because of the character names. You know who I'm talking about.
I have a feeling I do.
Okay.
Is it two certain sex workers by any chance?
It just might be, yes. So we have Katie Boytendick. I think that's how you pronounce her name. Or Boytendike. Okay. I don't know. Yeah. Apologies if I mangled that. But she plays the character Raspberry.
Jeez.
I'm going to guess that's not her real name.
I'm hoping not. Because she has horrible parents.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. And then we had Garrett Hnidiak as Johnny Cake.
Jeez, really?
Johnny Cake. Okay. All right. So, were these like the leftover, sex worker names? Or you get your sex worker name by word, like using one of those birthday with your birth month, you get this first name, and then with your some other thing that ends in a month, you use. I don't know.
I mean, couldn't they have even just randomly gone onto Pornhub for one moment and get some inspiration from the names? Okay, you don't have to watch the videos, but just look at the name of the actors.
Raspberry and Johnny Cake. Coming soon to a voyeur booth near you. Because that's what this show needed, right? It needed Jason Todd going to a voyeur booth.
Talking to sex workers.
Talking to sex workers, yeah. We'll get there. Don't worry. Stay tuned.
Thank you. I'm glad that somebody else has gripe with that.
Yeah. Remember, like I said, it's going to be a bumpy ride. All right.
Will.
I wasn't lying about that. So trivia. Nick, you probably have this. So I might as well ask you first. Do you have trivia on a certain Batman storyline that gets referenced in this episode in honor of Batman Day?
Because
I do, if you don't.
The one, because granted, Gotham City has been through so many different issues and problems when it comes to, even natural things. It made me think a little bit of Cataclysm to a certain extent.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Because
The earthquake that hit Gotham City in the comics.
Because I love all that whole disaster arc they have. Because they have the Cataclysm, and they have the Plague, and then obviously you get No Man's Land right after that. So, I love it. So it made me really go to Cataclysm more than anything else. Which one were you?
I think that's a very underrated storyline.
Oh, it's a fabulous, fabulous story.
But what I'm referring to, and this should be rather obvious, I think, is A Lonely Place of Dying.
Oh, of course, yes.
Yeah, because of primarily Tim Drake's confrontation with Dick Grayson about being at the Haley Circus when Dick's parents were killed.
Right.
And, it's taken right from that storyline, where he also says that he talked about later deducing Batman and Nightwing's identities. Mm-hmm. So that's right out of that storyline. There was a Batman story written by Marv Wolfman and drawn by George Perez and Jim Aparo that ran through Batman Volume 1, number 440 through 442, and The New Titans, number 60 and 61 in 1989. So this is this is now going on, 30 years? Over 30 years now, the storyline. And it's just now being adapted for live action television. Sort of.
I'm still waiting on the No Man's Land adaptation,
Well, and it doesn't even really adapt the storyline. It adapts some elements of it.
Yeah,
so
it takes it cherry picks here and there from the story.
Yeah. So I'd love to see an actual proper adaptation of that storyline. But in the story, for those who haven't read the comics, and shame on you for not reading that if you haven't, I'm going to call you out because that's a really good storyline. In the story, Tim Drake tracks down Dick Grayson at the Haley Circus to tell him that Batman needed a Robin after Jason Todd died, and Batman had become reckless and violent. So basically, Batman totally lost his cool after Jason died. And Tim, being the Batman stalker, almost, or being Batman obsessed, picked up on it, noticed it. Dick refused to become Robin again, of course, but Tim's actions in an encounter with Two-Face prompted him and Alfred Pennyworth to see Tim as a potential third Robin. Batman agreed to mentor Tim, train him, and use his assistance, eventually giving his approval after an encounter with the Scarecrow for Tim to become the third Robin. So I thought that was kind of interesting as I was doing, trying to recall this storyline. That Tim, he was hanging out with Batman. He wasn't officially Robin for a while.
Right.
Because Batman was still a little gun-shy after Jason Todd's death, right? Sure. But it was this, it was interesting that the Scarecrow was the catalyst for Tim officially becoming the third Robin. So maybe that's that they're kind of referencing in this season of Titans, perhaps.
It could be that, and it also made me think of the latest, or most recent Batman video game, where the main villain, spoilers, is the Scarecrow and is Jason Todd. So I wonder...
Wait a minute, Jason Todd is the Scarecrow?
No, Jason Todd is working with the Scarecrow in the video game.
Okay, all right. You don't remember the title of the video game? I'm kind of curious about it.
I think it was Arkham Knight, I think it might have been.
Okay, all right. That's cool. So, I just thought I'd mention that. Did you have any other trivia you wanted to share?
No, that was pretty much, that was because it made me think
but Cataclysm is very interesting.
Oh, well, as I said, I'm a sucker for those comics. And like you said, Charles, it's such an underrated story. And I read it religiously every year because I just love it so much. And then obviously I go on to read all the other ones because I just love them. They're just beautiful, beautiful stories. And like you said, they're just so ignored by other ones, which are great. But I don't know. It kind of gets...
those higher profile stories. This one to pardon the pun, it gets buried.
It does. Yeah, well, because everybody loves the Joker, right? So they're going to give you the main Joker story is going to be at the forefront for the most part.
And No Man's Land, because it just took everything to an extreme.
Yeah.
Spinning out of Cataclysm, that it almost felt like a prelude to the bigger storyline, No Man's Land.
Yeah, which as I said, once again, I adore, and I hope they might even do it in animated form now they're bringing some of the great animated stories to the screen.
Yep. So we're going to do 3 topics today.
Great.
Topic number 1 And you probably guessed the theme. At least I'm pretty sure Nick will. Topic number 1, homecoming.
Mm.
And here we're going to talk about Dick Grayson, Barbara Gordon, and Tim Drake.
Ooh.
So Dick and Babs flirting like it's going out of style in this episode.
Yes.
Even as, like, for whatever reason, Barbara is in her office at the Gotham City Police headquarters, and puddles are forming above her.
Yeah. And all she does is move the fishbowl. She's all like, what is that stuff dripping from my ceiling?
Here it is, this big fancy headquarters with this big fancy computer, and for whatever reason it's starting to, like, there's a puddle forming on their ceiling, on her ceiling.
And it's starting to leak, and she just keeps... I was so frustrated with this, because I'm like, shouldn't you investigate what's going on above you?
Or
if it keeps leaking?
Or temporarily move to somewhere else while the leak gets repaired, right? Now, granted, we do see guys come in at the end of the episode, right?
True.
But
it took her a while, but she got
around to it. Well, to be fair, she was dressed in formal attire, so maybe it was after hours.
I suppose.
Maybe, I don't know. Give them the benefit of the doubt. But regardless, I want to talk about their flirtations, and then also want to talk about Tim, because like we were talking about, Dick Grayson and Tim Drake have a very important conversation as Tim goes to Wayne Manor to directly confront Dick Grayson about what he knows and wanting to become the third Robin. So what did you make of these two things going on in the storyline? Oh, and we could also obviously talk about Dick Grayson in another brilliant Dick Grayson move, getting a concussion after getting hit by a car, and then still deciding to go off and do Titan stuff.
Yeah. Well, there are multiple problems here when it comes to Dick once again. I do also question his leadership skills again. Because the choices that he does make down the line. But I did like the banter, obviously, between him and Babs, and I was kind of hoping that they would make it to the gala. And it was so apropos, seeing as recently we had the Met Gala, or the MET Gala. So I thought to myself, it'd be kind of cool. They're like hanging out with Megan Fox and Machine Gun Kelly, and Conor McGregor steps in and wants to beat up Dick for some reason. But it kind of made me think of that. I was like, they're getting ready for the MET Gala. Like, nice.
And then Dick punches Kim Kardashian because he thinks that she's a supervillain.
Yes. So you could play so well with that. And then suddenly a rap song breaks out with Machine Gun Kelly doing a rap song about the Titans, like in 90s movie fashion,
There you go. Like, give me a beat. Give me a sick beat to fight with, and then
Exactly. Instead of Vanilla Ice, you have Machine Gun Kelly doing it.
Well, I was thinking of it, like I was thinking of Iron Man 2 when Tony Stark looks over at
War Machine.
No. I'm trying to think of the DJ. Yeah.
I can't remember who the guy is.
It was a very famous guy, and I'm blanking on that. But regardless, he looks over at the DJ. Apologies for my short-term memory. And he's like, give me a beat, drop me a sick beat while I go beat this guy. Fatboy Slim, maybe was it Fatboy Slim?
It might have been. Right. But yeah, of course, it's to be expected that their date would be derailed because, of course, Tim decides to call on the Titans, and in particularly Dick. And I will say he wasn't particularly convincing. Dick wasn't when coming to denying all the evidence that Tim was showing him. He was like, I know you're doing this. And, Bruce Wayne does this way better when it comes to denying that he is Batman. But it was clear that Dick was literally lying through his teeth. And, Tim was like, you're not fooling anybody, dude.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I like Tim just laying down the evidence. He's like, okay, I was at the Haley Circus, and if you don't believe me, here's photographic evidence of a program I had signed by your father right before his final performance, before he died. Yeah. And, don't worry, you can keep it. I've got copies. And...
And Dick is starting to sweat there, I think.
Yeah, and he's like, Oh, and like I saw Batman and Robin on the news chasing the Penguin, and Robin did this one-handed meat hook move to scale a rain gutter, and apparently this is like a move that only two people in the world could do, you and your father. And, oh, by the way, I also noticed that Nightwing also does a one-handed meat hook move.
And Dick is still trying to deny it. And he's like, yeah, I'll take you home, kid. I appreciate you coming by, but, I'll take you home. And that's pretty much the end of it. But I thought it was amusing that, obviously Tim wasn't buying it. And Dick was realizing that he is like, there's no way I'm going to fool this kid. And I'm assuming that by the time they're on the bike and he's taking him home, he's probably confessed to being Nightwing at that point, because after that, it's almost taken as when they meet each other again. Tim and Dick are literally, they recognize the fact that Tim knows that his identity, and they don't really address it ever again. It's like, oh, I'm not Dick Grayson when he sees Nightwing.
Like when Dick's ready to go into that second meeting, where he's ready to go into the tunnels, and Tim shows up there, apparently stalking him, and Dick still tries to deny it. He's still trying to no, look, I'm just going down here. Don't worry about why. Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. Don't worry about that. But I guess, I think this, because it was after that scene with the bike where Tim mentions that he saw Jason. Yeah. And originally thought that Jason was Robin because of how he moved, how his gait was.
Yeah, and he walked like Robin.
He walked like Robin, and Dick seemed really impressed by that.
Yeah.
So I think he's like, "Wow, you noticed that, huh?" And thought that Tim had some skills, potential as a detective.
Which I thought was wonderful, but you mentioned the fact going back to the bike ride. Right. We see then, of course, that Dick obviously calls Babs and tells her, kind of lets her know the date is not going to happen.
Well, she figured it out. She's like, I smell a cancellation happening here.
And so she's like, okay, pull up your computer and do everything else because I have a report of a recent sighting and a tip on where Jason might be. And here I think to myself, why the hell did we need Oracle in the previous episode? Because here we have Babs doing the whole
Oracle
Tony Stark thing, all the computers and stuff, which is what Oracle does. Why did we have to have that, mention that Brother Eye reference that we talked about in the previous episode? It seems now totally pointless.
Yeah, that computer was just like a complete throwaway. I don't know if the writers on this show just don't talk to each other like they should. You would think they would have a writer's room throwing these things around to coordinate this stuff, but apparently not. Nobody's driving this bus. And, I'm thinking like, okay, like you said, they mentioned this in the previous episode. Nobody thought then to, because Dick got this idea from Tim about gait movement.
Yes.
So he goes to Babs. He calls her up and says, hey, would you do me a favor and run this gait recognition sweep of the Noodle House area like 2 nights ago? And so she does that and tracks Jason down to Ridley Park, which is where Dick later, because he's on his bike while he does this, eventually sees Jason at a crosswalk.
Yeah. And
that's where he gets sideswiped by the car.
Mm-hmm.
But so why didn't they do that before? Why didn't I guess he just didn't think of it before, or why didn't Oracle do that? But they have this big mega supercomputer released before Babs told it to destroy itself.
Yeah. But also that's some pretty sophisticated tech that the computer that she's using already.
Right.
Which as I said, it really makes the whole Oracle thing superfluous, literally at this point. Because she could have done it all on her little computer. She didn't even have to go to Oracle.
Right.
But that aside, you then see, Dick respecting the rules of the road, because his bike is pulling behind the cars at a stop. You're like, okay, great. He doesn't drive through red lights. Awesome. I appreciate that.
But then he pulls out without looking, to see if there's any.
All right.
Yeah, he didn't look left or right. He just barreled right out into traffic.
Yeah, and he doesn't even put like his little blinkers on at the back to see to tell people he's turning.
Yeah.
He just barrels off. You're not the police, dude. If you had a siren, I understand.
Right.
But at least let the drivers know you're going, because I said to myself, yeah, an accident's going to happen because he's going through a red light. He's going to be knocked over.
Yeah.
No surprise, that's what happens. And I just thought it was so dumb. I always thought to myself, why is this happening? And then, like you said, he gets concussed, and we see how bad his concussion is. Yeah, what does he do? He's back in the field. 10 minutes later, he's like, read these letters on the board. Oh, I'm good to go. Let's go get some bad guys.
And then they start morphing into a bat.
Yes.
And Dick, for whatever reason, at that point is going, now granted, he does have a concussion. Maybe he's not thinking clearly. But he doesn't tell Barbara, oh yeah, this doesn't look, I'm still having trouble with my vision.
Oh no.
Because he's able to read it well enough to fool her, apparently. So she thinks he's okay. He pretends he's okay and goes out, and knowing that he has a concussion, decides, well, hey, I need to be there to help the Titans instead of, letting other heroes do this for me because I just got hit by a car.
I don't know. I mean, I think it's also because you're being detrimental to the team if you're not on your game. You should probably, be more open about saying, guys, I kind of got a concussion. I might be a liability in the field.
Yeah.
Maybe I should sit this one out and you guys go, because it's the Titans once again. It's not the Nightwing show, for crying out loud.
Yeah. This is one of the things that really frustrates me because Dick Grayson is a natural leader in the comics. Yeah. And here he's presented as this impulsive, reckless, I don't want to say self-absorbed, but self-focused person that he's very untrusting. And as a result, his lack of trust with his own team here at season 3 is still affecting his judgment and causing way more problems than it should be. I get that they're trying to come up with drama, but they're manufacturing this drama at the expense of taking this character seriously, in my opinion.
I totally agree with you. And you end up sidelining other characters for no good reason. Case in point, I don't know why the heck they sidelined Gar halfway through the episode.
Thank you. Yeah. He starts off like, oh, hey, yeah, I'm with Molly now. I tracked her down, and, we're going to get Jason, and, I'm telling her, reassuring her that he's going to be okay. And then he kind of fades into, telling Dick Grayson that Tim Drake is there. So congratulations, you're now the doorbell.
Exactly.
And then staying behind to take care of Tim after Tim gets injured.
And what happened to Molly in that storyline? It just disappeared. Okay.
Well, they reduced it down to Molly, okay, I guess I'll text Jason. And then Jason texts Dick to meet him.
Yeah.
That was
They
it.
just act as messengers. That's all they do.
Right. So it's just okay, why did we need this, I guess? Or, I don't know.
It's like, oh, look at us. We're acknowledging that Molly exists.
I don't know.
I know I just felt really bad because I felt that.
But they are marginalizing him.
Yeah, he was really sidelined here.
He is, and I felt frustrated. I know we're talking about Dick Grayson, Barbara, and Tim, but we had to talk about Gar at some point, and I'm glad that I'm not alone. You're feeling a little, upset that Gar is, getting sidelined.
Well, also because, we'd seen such strong episodes of his prior to this.
Yeah.
And I was really getting into it, and it was once again a strong start, and then it just peters out. And so I thought to myself, what the heck are you doing to this character? But that gripe aside, I
will mention, I'm sorry to interrupt, but
no worries.
He did, when the other Titans were talking about, yeah, we need to take out Jason.
Mm-hmm.
Gar is the lone voice going, we shouldn't do that.
We should give him a second chance.
We should give him a second chance because you guys gave me a second chance, and I was really grateful for this moment. Gar tells the team, look, you gave me a second chance after I killed all those people. Remember that? That we just kind of washed away and completely ignored until here at episode 8.
And nobody pointed out they have Blackfire, who is a villain herself, living under the roof of the Titans Tower. Yeah. I mean, nobody said anything about that either. And I do think, though, that choice, I do believe in second chances, Charles, don't get me wrong, but I think this once again maybe shows Dick's leadership skills are a little bit off in the sense that would you take him in just so easily? Because he could be a ticking time bomb. You might want to maybe take him to detox or someplace where he can be treated because you can't just take him in like this on blind faith.
It's this version of Dick Grayson, this angry, hot-headed, It's very unlike the comics character. So I still have trouble reconciling these two characters because this isn't faithful to this Dick Grayson is not faithful to the comics.
You use the word impulsive, which I think is the best way to describe it.
And just when he starts, there are moments though, where Dick starts being an effective leader and so, when he was being a detective with Gar and working together with him, that you're like, okay, maybe my fears are unfounded, or maybe he's getting better. Maybe they're
getting back on track.
The writers are starting to figure out the character, and then he goes and does something this dumb again. Yeah, and it's just the latest in another increasingly long line of dumb moves.
The big problem with this show, I think, is inconsistency.
Yeah.
In the sense that it can take you to really great heights, but then at the same time it lets you down in other aspects. So I think it's very inconsistent when it comes to that. And you know what? Being a Montreal Canadiens supporter, I know all about inconsistency, and it is very frustrating. So I'm just going to put that out there.
Well, I'm a Cleveland sports fan, so I'm right there with you with this, because we are the kings of inconsistency.
So, but that we did have a highlight in, like you were mentioning, Tim Drake.
Yeah.
I think Jay Lycurgo is doing a great job with this character. I love the energy, the enthusiasm. Granted, he may be a little bit too obsessed when it comes to his love for Nightwing and Batman and such, but I thought it was adorable at the same time. Because, I don't know, he just... Okay, he has the gall to barge in and say, I want to be the next Robin. Mm-hmm. Which is not really going to work. They're not going to give you the job just like that. But I appreciate just that energy and that enthusiasm, that impetuousness of wanting to do something to, in his eyes, make the world a better place. Because he feels that everything's going to hell in a handbasket and he wants to do something about it.
Well, his father just got shot.
Yes.
And it seems like his father is okay. Because if his father was dead, I have to imagine that Tim would be off with his mom, right?
Of course.
So
and minding the noodle shop and everything else.
Yeah, or just grieving over his father. But now, I guess the way he's talking with Dick is like, well, my dad got shot, and now I want to be the third Robin. So it's almost like he had a moment where, hey, something really bad could have happened to my father, and it feels like the show, without confirming that his dad is okay, has confirmed that his dad is okay.
Yes, I think so. And it was a nice nod to the whole thing, to the whole Batman origin stories. In this happened to my parents, I don't want it to happen to anybody else's ever again because I don't want them to feel that way. Yeah. Which is the impetus of the hero's journey of it hit me so close to home, I don't want it to happen to anybody else, which is a place of where a lot of heroes come from, where they have the tragic family backstory and they don't want it to happen to other people. And so I loved that. The one thing I did have a big also problem is, why does Tim get shot towards the end of the episode?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was just because he was so eager.
Right.
Because he's like he's always there. He's because apparently this is all he does all day.
Yes, exactly. His stalk his heroes.
Yeah, it's like I'm going to follow Dick Grayson around, and so he comes across Scarecrow, who, he's gotten into this water pump station, and we'll talk about that. But he's Scarecrow's in disguise as one of the workers, and then suddenly drops a gun, and then Scarecrow shoots him because Tim didn't pick up the gun fast enough, I guess, or that he just didn't know what to do.
Yeah, because we was like frozen like a deer in the headlights.
Yeah,
because
or maybe I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say maybe maybe what he wants. Maybe this was a realization that they're not going to make him the next Robin.
So he decides to go. Well, he does.
That he's not ready for this, obviously.
Well, because at first, he's all bravado, telling Dick, "Okay, I'm going to prove to you that I can do this. I'm going to get Jason and Scarecrow the right way." And he actually says the right way to him. And I suppose when he actually gets there, like you said, he probably is like, "Whoa, I'm way out of my league here. I don't even know what the heck I'm doing." And that's why he almost gets that deer in the headlights moment where the gun is on the ground,
right,
and he's frozen.
He doesn't know what to do.
And you'd think he might want to maybe put some protective gear on and not just be wearing his backpack, because as he's running, you're going to, those bullets will penetrate.
Unless that's a Kevlar-lined hoodie, I think you're going to be in trouble.
Yeah.
But, maybe just his eagerness got the best of him. But it was frustrating because it's like, oh man, now we got to worry about Tim. Like, I don't think he's dead. I really don't think he's dead.
Of course not.
But he was gravely wounded, and
the guy was coughing up blood, and
so
blood
maybe
either
this is going to make Tim have some second thoughts about wanting to become Robin, or it's going to make him realize that he needs to actually train first before he becomes Robin.
It probably works for both things.
Yeah,
and I assume now that because it would make I was almost thinking, okay, Dick is having problems when it comes to concussion and stuff. He sees this eager guy. He thinks to himself, this might be the chap to bring in because I can't make it right now.
Right.
We can bring him in and train him a little bit. But I thought it was a bit extreme that they got to the point of we're bringing him into Titan's Tower when he's shot half to death. I thought that was a little bit extreme.
A little bit. I mean, I understand where you're coming from with that, but I kind of wonder, excuse me, Tim. I think, he's coming from a different place than Jason.
Oh, yes.
He's not so much like I have to be Robin because I'm nothing without being Robin. That's Jason's approach. Right. Tim is coming out for the approach like, Batman needs help, or, I want to, there's a void here that I need to fill. And after my dad got shot, I want to help out.
It's coming, I think, more from a selfless
place. Which is good. It's coming from a better place, than Jason, definitely.
And I guess this is how they're going to bring Tim into Titan's Tower. Basically have him about to die. They'll rescue him, I assume. It's like, okay, welcome to the... And that Titan's Tower is going to be really complicated if you have Jason Todd in there. You have Blackfire in there. It's going to be really crazy at that point.
Well, I'm trying to figure out how they're going to resolve Jason. We'll talk about Jason here shortly.
Yeah.
But, I'm not sure what they're going to do with Jason. I don't know if they're going to... I think they want to keep him around, but I don't think they're going to be able to keep him around.
So, but do you think they might actually get the Curran Walters might actually disappear from the show? They might actually kill him off,
or he's just going to stay a solo character, perhaps. That he won't be a Titan.
So he might just be like the lone wolf doing his own thing,
like a guy that shows up every so often, perhaps.
Yeah, could be.
I don't know, but that's basically it. But yeah. All right. Anything else about Dick, Barbara, or Tim? I know we talked a lot about this.
No, I think we're good when it comes to those.
Okay, so see, we're coming Batman stuff on Batman Day.
Exactly.
Of course, because we don't have, that's all Titans is now. It's a Batman show. All right, topic number 2, Far From Home. So we had Homecoming, Far From Home.
I wonder what the last.
I wonder what the last one could
titles.
be. Yeah. So let's talk about our Far From Home Titans: Blackfire, Starfire, and sort of Superboy. And this has gotten to be really interesting now, because this relationship, which we talked about was moving rather fast, has now moved even faster, because now Blackfire and Superboy are having sex in Wayne Manor.
Yeah.
So now, to be fair, they are seeming. It's not. It seems to be more than sex, because they are being a couple almost. Like, we have Blackfire using some, astronomical device to show where Krypton was after it exploded,
Right.
or also show in a different galaxy, in a galaxy far, far away, where Tamaran is. And so they are kind of being a couple, but there seems to be some strangeness going on, in the form of, like, while they're having sex, there is this mysterious pink energy that was lingering under the bed, coming out of the bed.
Yeah.
So, thoughts, Nicholas, on this?
Okay, so granted, we did talk about the possibility that they would hook up. You and I talked. It's they're a step away from sharing a bed at this point, and lo and behold, I didn't expect it to be that fast, because when you see them, kind of having their pillow talk moment, because evidently they've had sex already and they're just sort of doing the whole galaxy thing. It's
right.
Like, whoa, that moved fast. When did that happen? So I was a little bit surprised, but and then obviously it continues. They seem to have sex multiple times within Wayne Manor. Nobody notices, apparently, but. And yeah, that purple haze or whatever it is.
Yeah, I don't know what it kind of depended on the color or the lighting, but I wasn't sure what color it was. But yeah, what is your theory? I have a theory about what that is.
You do? Because
I do.
I'm thinking to myself, because
what do you think?
The closest I thought was maybe just a combination of the two energies of these two characters from these planets are creating something. So it's either like a baby, I'm not saying they're having the child, but
right.
It's the energy of them having sex which is causing this to happen. Granted, then they literally break the bed, and I was like, okay, fine. But I thought to myself, it's Tamaran, somewhat, communication or a beacon or something from Tamaran. It's hard to say. But I was thinking more the whole thing of being two alien races, or at least, Superboy being part alien. It could be that their energies are creating something, but unless it's a scheme that Blackfire is working on through Superboy, I don't know.
Let me tell you my theory.
Go ahead,
if I may. All right,
of course.
Some of that is part of my theory, what you just said. So I think you're on the right track. My theory, and I could be completely wrong, granted. My theory is that, yes, Blackfire is using Superboy and is having sex with him for a purpose. And I think that purpose is that Blackfire's powers are possibly solar powered.
Aha.
And Superboy is this big walking solar battery.
Yeah.
That gets his powers from the sun. So maybe this discharge, for lack of a better term, going on under the bed is resulting from Blackfire drawing the energy out of Superboy and feeding off him to power herself and make herself stronger, perhaps.
What would confirm your theory?
Almost like in a succubus kind of way.
Right. No, I totally, and I think that's
What do you think?
I think that's definitely a viable theory. At the same time, she really is a great actress, playing that she is really into the whole relationship, because they then have that moment in the car where obviously they've been discovered by Starfire, who at first walks in on them, but she's in one of her moments where she's not,
you mean in the bedroom? You mean in the bedroom after the bed breaks and they look across the room, and then there's Corey at the opposite end of the room, like staring at them, like, what are you two doing?
And of course, Superboy doesn't own up for his actions and rushes out the door into his own room.
Well, he's all naked. He's all like, "Phew," and gone, and runs into the bathroom or whatever.
He just rushes out, but then of course we find out that there, Corey was should we say, not coherent at the time. She was possessed. She's having her visions again.
Right.
So,
so do you? Here's another question. Do you think whatever this energy is being created by them is triggering Corey's visions?
I think it
because she was having the visions before Corey, unless remember they were communicating telepathically somehow.
Right.
So I don't know. I think it all comes back to Blackfire. I think maybe it's accidental that Blackfire is triggering these visions in Corey.
Mm-hmm.
But it could be a byproduct, perhaps, of feeding off Superboy, trying to feed off his power.
It could be, because it's hard to say. But what basically also wanted to conclude there was when they're obviously in the car, and they Superboy and Blackfire have that little talk of maybe we should just call it off. It was fun while it lasted and everything else. Then, Superboy's kind of like, and he admits to her that he was a virgin up until that point, and Blackfire was his first. And as they say, you never forget your first time, and all that stuff.
And she's like, really? You're a virgin? Really? Or you were?
Yeah. And
not anymore.
But then at the same time, they're kind of like, but I don't really want it to end. I'm actually enjoying this. And Blackfire actually is almost laughing to herself. And you wonder whether she's either genuinely giddy about the fact of almost having somebody who loves her, or whether there is that veneer of she's almost cackling to herself in the sense that I have my claws in him.
Tapping her fingers, all excellent. Yes.
So it could be a bit of both. It could be that, she's play acting the giddiness in front of him, almost like the giddy schoolgirl. Where maybe, if you want to follow your theory, she could actually just be almost, like I said, having that insane evil villain cackle moment where she's like, it's all going according to plan.
Yeah, I think you're right, because she is very convincing. I will grant you that, because she seems into him.
Mm-hmm.
So it's either going to feel like a real shock when she betrays him, and maybe. So I don't know if it's that I'm looking for something that isn't there, and she's genuinely into him, or she's a great actress and is completely fooling him. And my suspicions, because of being a comics fan,
of course,
that it has to be something ulterior going on here.
Which could or it could be like the case of she starts with a certain kind of plan, but then changes because she finds that she's actually falling for him, which is a trope that we have seen in other films and TV
that's
shows.
A possibility.
It could be that too.
Yeah, I think that's a definite possibility.
So I guess we'll see.
Yeah, I guess we will. So Starfire, after fighting with her sister again, because hey, that's all they do. They decide, well, okay, we need to get Corey back into the isolation chamber to try and figure out again what's going on with her visions, because that's worked so well up till now. So then she goes inside and now has another vision, and this is where we get a sequence where she's in an empty theater, being all happy in the darkness. See what I did there?
I see what you did there.
And she holds in her hand like a handbill for the crown of Tamaran. And then we see a baby carriage being lowered onto the stage. Starfire walks up to it, and inside she finds a child with glowing eyes. Mm-hmm. What was your thoughts about that sequence? What do you think it means?
It's curious because I thought to myself, had David Lynch directed this, it could have gone so many ways.
It could have been, it would have been shot better for one, but yeah.
Yeah. Ouch. That's
burn.
Yes. Well, no, because I was kind of hoping, it was like, yeah, let's get the whole Silencio vibes going on, because I'm really digging this, but no.
Yeah. That's a Mulholland Drive reference for anybody who doesn't know.
Yes. But no, my thought was either is she seeing herself as a baby, because we actually see an older woman who I assume is her mother kind of reaching out, going, no, or something to that effect, and these glowing green eyes. So I don't know whether it's either she sees herself or whether that's baby Blackfire. So it could be one of both things, because the whole thing that her mom shows up, I think maybe it's just that she's reliving the trauma of having been been separated from her mom at some point.
Right.
But it's hard to say. I'm probably going with that concept of you were taken away from your family, and it's the whole concept of I miss my mom and I'm having mommy issues and all that.
Yeah, I think this is a repressed memory.
Yeah.
I think that's coming through. And there's something that happened to her as a child. And maybe I would love it. I don't think we're going to get it, but I would love it if they reveal that Corey was given away by their parents, perhaps. Yeah. Or to the, whatever, like in the comics, it was the Citadel and the Gordanians.
Right.
That, took over. And then Corey ends up with her sister being put into slavery. Mm-hmm. And experimented upon by the Scions. I would love it if that was the case, but I don't think we're going to get that because I don't think the show is that ambitious, for one. So, yeah. I mean, I don't mean to be cruel, but
no, not at all.
I just don't have faith in the show that would do something that epic in storytelling.
You're being honest and being direct there, Charles, and I guess maybe even the option of going to Tamaran might be out the window, though my other thought is, could it be that she's maybe receiving like communications from Tamaran and it's her parents trying to communicate with her, just like when she was getting visions when Blackfire was trying to communicate with her. So maybe she's getting these crossed messages
maybe
whenever somebody tries to contact her.
Well, I think because if I recall correctly, they did talk about having cast the role of Corey's mom. So maybe it's her mom. I think you might be onto something there.
Well, because I hope they didn't just cast her to be in a dream sequence going, no, and it's like, yeah, you're done. Thanks for coming.
I would hope not. But
so that's my thought. I think it's
that's a good theory. I like that theory. It might be her mom reaching out. Hopefully. We'll find out. Hopefully we'll find out. Anyway. So after this vision, we suddenly cut back to the real world, and Starfire is once again standing in the middle of a street, muttering in Tamaranian. And Superboy and Blackfire just show up, talking about how, we followed you.
And she apparently stole the Batmobile or one of Bruce Wayne's cars.
I would think of car, yeah. I don't think it was the Batmobile.
Yeah, because that wasn't the Batmobile,
No. I think that would be a little too revealing and kind of a big deal. Like, why is Starfire driving around the Batmobile? But
so one of Bruce's many sports cars.
Yeah. So this is, and then it seemed like there was that Corey was staring at this place for a reason. It's somehow tied in, I think, with this repressed memory.
Yeah.
And hopefully we'll find out why. But apparently she was just circling the place in the car. So why they didn't go inside, I have no idea. Hey, we've been led here. You were driving around it for a while, but we're not going to go inside? Really?
See, here's why we need Gar, because Gar would like either find, a manhole to go down or a door, or the Beast Boy is needed at this point, and I feel so hurt that he was sidelined because he should have been here. Yeah. And yet,
I'm increasingly of the opinion that Beast Boy should now be the leader of the Titans.
Yes, totally. If you don't have a functioning
# Beast Boy for leader.
Yes. If Starfire is not fully being mentally functional, she should be the leader, but as a vice president, if you will, Beast Boy should be her vice president.
Should Starfire not be able to perform her duties as leader, then Gar will be brought in to take over.
Yeah, he's like her viceroy, if you will. But
I don't know. He's the first runner-up in the Titans leader competition.
Yeah, because Dick, really, you ain't no leader to me right now. But hey, we do of course get Corey calling Superboy and Blackfire out on the fact that they are a thing. It's like, so you guys are sleeping together now? And
like it just now registered at this point. It wasn't registering before because she was in one of her little vision trance things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she just kind of looks at them rather sort of unimpressed and walks away. Yeah. I guess that if looks could kill, I suppose.
I know, right? The only other thing I had with Corey was that she confronted Dick about being a better Batman, and that being a better Batman is not about killing when it comes to Jason. So hopefully that sinks into that granite-like skull of this Dick Grayson.
Yeah, I still don't think that bringing Jason into the fold is a good idea. Give him some time alone, give him time to detox, and then maybe bring him in. But that's just my thought. I mean, what do you think, Charles? I mean, you think it's a bad idea to bring Jason to Titan's Tower at this point?
I think it's a supremely bad idea. Because for one thing, I don't think Jason's playing with a full deck right now. Yeah. He's got addiction issues because of Scarecrow. He's, killed Hawk. That should be a big warning flag, because you have to wonder, like, what would Dawn think about, like, oh, hey, you brought back the guy who killed Hawk and made him a member of the team again. And
that would be an odd conversation if she ever gets back from Europe or wherever she is.
Right, and the fact that for 3 that it's Jason Todd, and hasn't really changed.
No.
He hasn't, he talks about, like, and we'll talk about it. We're getting there. Don't worry. We're going to get to Jason. But he's talking about wanting to come home, and I don't think he's sincere about it.
No.
Or he really understands it.
Yeah. And he's just nuts at this point.
Well, he's reeling.
Yeah.
And I don't think what do you think? Do you think it would be a good idea? Because I don't think it would
be.
Oh,
hell no. I mean, it really is. You're really bringing
No, hold back, Nick. Or, I'm not sure. Maybe you need to clarify that position a little bit more.
I don't think it was clear enough.
Oh, hell no. Like he does the whole Will Smith head bob thing.
Yes. No, I just really, as I mentioned, this guy is, like you said, he's not playing with a full deck. Yeah. He's got issues. He needs medical attention, both physical and psychological, before he can even be thought to be brought into society or live with other people. He needs
Titans rehab is what he needs.
Big time. So yeah, there's no way I would let this guy in. And it's not to be cruel. It's just that right now is not the right time.
No. Everything's still raw and fresh, but this group is the quintessential group of bad decisions.
Exactly. Get in the pool.
Get in the pool.
Exactly.
Take off your clothes. Get in the pool. Swim all the way across the pool in the icky water.
That's right. So that should tell you the average intelligence of these people.
Yeah. All right.
Oh, well. Such is life.
I'm glad that's stuck in your head.
Yes, it did.
Okay. See, we have fun here.
We do.
We try anyway. All right. If there's nothing else about Blackfire, Superboy, or Starfire, let's move to our third and final topic, which unpredictably was titled No Way Home. Yeah.
Can't wait for December to roll around, mind you.
Homecoming, Far From Home, No Way Home. Well, it made the most sense to me. And it actually worked in order, which I thought was surprising.
It's fabulous. It just was meant to be.
It was meant to be. So let's talk about Jason Todd, who is finding no way home to the Titans. That's why I used that title. Scarecrow, who is all over the place in this episode. And Scarecrow's mom, the aforementioned Scarecrow's mother, who doesn't even get her own name because she's not even worth it as a character, before she gets killed off. And where do you want to start first? Do you want to start with Jason, since we just talked about Jason, or do you want to focus on Scarecrow?
I think that Jason is a good point to start. And
okay.
Speaking of great performances, I do think Curran Walters brought another strong performance here, because playing the junkie, if you will, who's now suffering major withdrawals because he needs a hit, literally. Yeah. That's what his problem is at this point. And it was very reminiscent to me of Mark Renton from Trainspotting, who is, of course, played by Ewan McGregor, when he's having his withdrawal moments, where the very sunken eyes, the very sort of the expressions, the desperation of needing the hit, if you will. It was intense, and I have to hand it to Curran Walters doing a great job. And the fact that, if you will...
Hey, man, you got any more of them anti-gas or anti-fear gas inhalers? Like old Dave Chappelle meme?
Yeah, I mean, the guy would probably inhale anything at that point if it would help him. And in fact, even when he sees the canisters, he's almost prepared to take those, even though Scarecrow tells him that's super concentrated. People have died from using that kind of stuff. Well, you'll probably die. I think if
Scarecrow just poisoned him last episode, gave him a bad inhaler intentionally.
And then he's like, you don't want that stuff. That stuff will kill you. But says the guy who as Jason points out, zombified him and, almost killed him almost anyway. But I did like that we got the thing that the worm turns in this moment, because Jason realizes, light bulb, that Scarecrow has been using him and playing him throughout. Yeah, he's been playing him throughout the whole thing. It's like, you used me, and
Scarecrow's like, of course I used you, you idiot.
It's like the duh,
Added, in the immortal words of Buffy Ann Summers, add it up, it all spells duh.
Yes. So I obviously Scarecrow's not impressed. He's like, yeah, now you're getting there. But I did like the fact that, as I said, that Jason kind of turns on him, beats him, gives him a pretty sound beating to where he knocks him unconscious.
Yeah, he punches him once, and Scarecrow kind of wipes his lip, and then Jason really hammers him and knocks him out. That second punch. And then
just storms off and goes elsewhere. But
he's dropping in the middle fingers as he's walking away.
Yes, I regret nothing. But yeah, he walks away, and then the moment of all moments, where does he go to seek advice? He goes to sex work.
Oh no, okay, you're talking about Jason still. Yeah. So, yeah.
He doesn't go to a church. He doesn't go to a synagogue. He goes to some voyeur place.
Right. After breaking up with his supervillain boyfriend for the, third time, he decides, okay, yeah, I need to figure some things out. So I'm going to go to a voyeur booth and watch two sex workers. I'm paying them to use the names Hank and Dawn. No issues here, right? In reference, of course, to his former Titans allies. And Jason's apologizing for killing Hank. And the guy, I forget what his cheesy name was. Johnny Cake. Johnny Cake. Johnny Cake's like, okay, that's it. Time out. I'm out. I'm tapping out. I'm done.
This doesn't work for me.
I'm not really feeling this one. Sorry. But the Raspberry, who's now playing Dawn, she tries to actually sit down and talk to him a little bit. Obviously, they're separated because of the wall, the window or whatever. And so she's protected in her room from, whatever he does, whatever Jason's going to do. But so she actually just sits there on the bed inside the room talking with Jason and trying actually to give him some advice and say, hey, look, You should probably go home if you want to be forgiven.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where Jason now gets it stuck in his head that, oh, I need to go back to the Titans.
Yeah, and he needed to go to this. I don't know. I just thought it was very weird that of all places he would go here. I mean, I'm not saying that sex workers can't provide good advice, but what I'm saying is it seems a little bit odd that he would go there of all places.
Well, again, you mentioned that he's reeling now because he's going through withdrawal, and I guess maybe he figures it's under the radar because it's an underground sex thing.
Yeah.
And nobody's going to know him there, perhaps. So maybe he just feels like I can be myself here.
I suppose sometimes you have to go where nobody knows your name, right?
Right. Yeah, this is like this isn't exactly Cheers, granted, but Jason!
Exactly. I mean, or maybe it would have been too cliche had he gone to talk to a priest, I suppose.
I'm glad they didn't do that because, well, for one thing, it made no sense because I can see Jason doing the Matt Murdock thing and going, seeking solace in a priest or a confessional booth or something.
Yeah, I suppose it would have been too out of character had he gone to a church.
But I have to think there was some other place he could have gone, but it's Jason. He's not in his right head right now.
Would it have been too obvious had he gone to Molly? I'm just saying.
I don't know. Maybe he thought Molly was being watched. I don't know why he wouldn't go to Molly.
Because that would probably have been the first choice, I think, because she's the one who he trusted the most and everything else.
But then that would mean the writers had to give Molly something to do besides text off camera.
Yeah. Or heck, I guess I'll go with your headcanon of he's worried that she might be watched and there might be, somebody.
That's the only thing I could think of why he didn't go to Molly at this point.
I'm assuming that's all.
She's the only one he seems to have still has trust in.
So I guess, but yeah. So then he's like, okay, then let's arrange the meeting with Dick and say I want to come home and all this kind of thing. So I was like,
So they arrange that meeting, and then Dick goes to we're going to meet in the tunnels, and apparently these tunnels. Batman used these tunnels, and keep in mind, Dick has a concussion still from his accident. So he goes down there, and they talk about I want to come home again. I want to be with my friends. I want to be a Titan again. Mm-hmm. And which is what obviously he got that idea from the fake Dawn.
Yes. And
he says killing Hank, that was all, because of Crane's manipulation and the drugs that he gave me. So therefore, he's not taking responsibility for killing Hank.
Yeah, it was the drugs talking, not me.
Right. So this should be another big flashing warning sign going, don't bring him back to the Titans.
I don't know.
But the show brought Blackfire, a supervillain, into the Titans after she killed Fede. So who knows?
It's going to look more and more like the Injustice Society as we progress.
Yeah. It's like is this the Titans or the Fearsome Five?
Yeah.
I don't know, but whatever. Okay. If Jason comes back and becomes a Titan again, I'm just going to be throwing up my hands going, that's it. I'm done. I'm out. I'm going to be like Johnny Cake, just I'm out of here. You guys do your thing. I'm out.
Oh, wow. No, but I mean, it's weird. I guess we'll see what happens at this point. But yeah, then, as you said.
Do you believe Jason? Because I don't.
I don't believe him either, but as the fact that, like you said, he's not even taking responsibility for his actions, almost crying, running home because things are not going his way.
Yeah.
That's the kind of vibe I got. And obviously, as I said, the kid needs help, but professional help and not going home. It's not the right time. And
paging Dr. Tompkins, paging Dr. Leslie Tompkins.
Maybe she might. Hopefully, they bring her back. I hope because so far this show has kind of showed us characters and then taken them away. Hence the psychiatrist who never came back, who could have been addressed in this episode.
Well, here's what I'm wondering now. Is the way they're going to deal with Jason and resolve his storyline, are they going to lock him up in Arkham Asylum?
Unless he decides to check himself in, literally, as in he realizes he's got problems and he's like literally admits himself. Yeah. So I doubt that would happen. But I guess it might be a little bit, exact. I don't know. I would see the best way would be to send him to Arkham Asylum or put him in Leslie's care.
Yeah, I mean, you did mention before that you thought that Molly would be the one to kind of get him to reevaluate and realize what he's done.
Yeah.
So,
I'm surprised that they might bring her in. I guess we'll see. But there's a lot going on, so it's hard to say.
Yeah, I don't know. And then we talked about like Jason shows up just as Scarecrow shoots Tim.
Yeah.
So that's going on, which is nice. All right.
I suppose there is still some good in Jason because he called, the 911 or whatever it was to take Dick to hospital. So I guess he does have that going for him. But I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure where his head is at. I think he's not thinking clearly. Obviously,
he's literally all over the place.
Which is good because I think it makes him unpredictable as a character. You don't know what he's going to do next. I don't know what he's going to do next.
No.
Hopefully, the writers know what he's going to do next. We'll find out.
I hope so.
So let's talk about Scarecrow.
Ooh, okay.
Let's shift gears because we want to get moving on and talk about other things. But Scarecrow, so he's at the pump station. This is where Jason initially confronts him. And he's trying to unsuccessfully, I might add, drill through the flooring of the water pump station. And he tells Jason, well, this pump station is directly above the Cortland valve station, which controls all the water supply in Gotham. Mm-hmm. And I kind of find this interesting because in my real life, in my secret identity, I work for a company that deals with water and sewer projects. So I'm familiar with water pump stations. Not directly because I'm not an engineer, but I work on projects that involve them. And so,
did this seem believable, Charles, from that perspective?
Well, they didn't really get into it too heavily.
Right.
They just said, okay, yeah, this is a pump station. They mentioned a pump station, so I thought that was believable. And they mentioned that it's connected to this, station that handles the water supply. So I guess that's how they have it hooked up. But Scarecrow reveals that his plan is just going to be dumping this anti-fear toxin concentrate into the water supply, and wackiness will ensue from there. And this is where Jason calls his plan a joke, and things escalate one after the other, where Scarecrow brings up Hank's name and gets just to wind Jason up, and that's where Jason punches him.
Yeah, because he's like, oh, and what's his name?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then whack, knocks him right on his ass. So, let's see. So then, I guess when he wakes up, this worker is there, finds him passed on the floor, and the worker starts laughing at him when he sees that someone who, not realizing that it was him, that was Crane, breaking through the floor with a concrete drill instead of whatever drill would actually do the job. Because what he's got isn't going to happen, no matter how hard he tries. So, and then Scarecrow gets really angry, like he's being made fun of.
Yeah.
Very insecure, and as a result, ends up snapping the guy's neck.
Yet, before he dies, he gives Scarecrow so much information which will play perfectly into the end of this episode.
Yes.
Which is why then he ultimately achieves his goal. I do wonder when he first meets that engineer, that operator, whatever,
right?
When he pretends to be a bum who is sleeping there, whether he actually is genuinely appreciative of the fact that he is offered the yogurt. Because once again, I think he's an excellent actor who's just blown away that somebody would give him a yogurt. He's like, oh, you poor guy. He's like, are you hungry? And he gives him the yogurt. And I think Scarecrow
So
is
here's a tip.
genuine.
Never give bums yogurt because then they'll snap your neck.
But I think in that moment, since we do then see that Scarecrow's got his own issues going on, his own crazy cats in his head, I wonder whether there at that moment he's actually being genuine and he actually appreciates an act of kindness, which maybe he's never known kindness in his life,
Right.
possibly. And this is like maybe the first time he experiences kindness. And that's why he's almost like taken aback. He doesn't know what to say. You almost see like a smile going, yeah, kind of thank you, and everything else. So maybe it's a new feeling for him.
Well, I'm trying to figure out because after that scene, the next time we see Scarecrow, he goes to talk to his mother.
Yeah.
So whatever happened in that scene was associated with his mother. And maybe it's for the reason that you said, that maybe he wasn't shown kindness as a child. And this worker who he ended up killing showed him more kindness than his own mother did. So for whatever reason, he associated that and thought, now's the time I want to go visit Mom. And so he goes to her office. Surprise, surprise, she's also a psychologist. And I guess he was hoping to get some advice about how to proceed with his plans. But she completely, tries to tune him out, saying, dismisses him, saying he's afraid of taking risks. He always has been. So she doesn't really think very highly of him. And Crane says, she left him, but she tried to justify her behavior, saying she deserved a better son. So apparently he wasn't the son that she thought she deserved. And consequently rejected him. And then apparently in this continuity, all of Crane's issues stem back for the fact that his mother doesn't love him. He has mommy issues.
Which seems to be obviously one of the driving themes of this episode. Jason wanted to come home, Scarecrow wanted to come home, and how all that plays out, I suppose.
Right. So he starts, and it's pretty pathetic because he starts breaking down, like he's he's having a child, like he's almost like a childlike.
Yeah,
he starts crying weepily at her. He kneels down before her as she's sitting in her chair.
Yeah, because at first he's like, I want to put my head on your lap and, and you kind of tell me everything will be all right kind of situation. And then, like you said, he literally crumples up in front of her, wanting to first kill her. But then he's like, sorry, I don't want to kill you. And then, surprise, surprise, she knew he was coming because she has like snipers on the roof.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
so I don't know how she knew he was coming at that particular moment. Were the snipers just waiting around just in case?
She has snipers on on the payroll or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, you never know when my son could show up. So she's like paying these snipers every day in hopes he'll turn up.
Or whatever, maybe she was warned that Scarecrow was out. Maybe, because of Scarecrow, the word getting out on the news that Scarecrow had escaped.
So she was like, he's probably going to come to me at some point.
Yeah. So maybe just for protection, the Gotham City Police Department sent some guys over, at least a guy, to watch and keep tabs on her. But regardless, Scarecrow noticed the guy across, in the building, neighboring building.
Because I think he sees the light of the gun.
Yeah, something like, or one of the
laser target.
The laser targeting. Yeah, exactly. I think that was it. And so he realizes, well, Mom's just betrayed me, so I'm going to kill her too, and kills her too. And they the cops show up and they just find Crane's gone, but his mom is dead.
Yeah, exactly. And wow, like the head's been like totally turned around.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, okay.
This just escalated quickly.
And she was able to, I wonder when she pushed the panic button, because we see the panic button flashing in the background too. So I guess she either was able to also call the cops before he murdered her, I suppose.
Yeah, something like that. Or maybe Crane pushed the button so they would come.
Yeah, because he's like, come get me.
Come get Mom. I gotta split, but I don't want to just leave her here, in her chair. So at least he's that considerate, right?
I suppose so.
Such a good boy. Yeah.
A dutiful son.
Right. So it's from there. So it almost seems like Scarecrow's kind of reeling a little bit after the Titans blew up his ice cream hideout. And so he hears, I guess, next time I think we see him, he was overhearing Dick and Jason's conversation.
How did he get there? I don't know.
We don't know. We don't know. It's Titans. Go figure. Roll with it. And then, so Crane is now, this is where he shoots Tim. He's still there at the station. And tricks Starfire, I guess, because the rest of the Titans show up at this point. And Starfire is like, he tricked me, and blasts the I guess, cause an explosion, which allows the water supply to be poisoned.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah,
because obviously, taking the advice from the worker earlier, you'd need like a solar power, something, the power of the sun to break through this. Like, I know somebody like that.
Yeah, who has the powers of the sun? Oh, wait, Starfire. Right. So he tricked Starfire into doing his work for him. And I thought it was interesting. I don't know if you caught this, but it seemed like they were homaging a shot because we see this one water pipe that was kind of exposed. Part of it was like half of it. The top part was removed somehow.
Right.
And you could see the water flowing through it. It looked pretty much like the shot in Batman Begins.
Yes.
When the Scarecrow, the Cillian Murphy, or no, was it Cillian Murphy? I can't remember.
Yeah, it was.
Okay, Cillian Murphy, that, he was doing the same thing. He was trying to put, something in the water supply.
Yeah, so maybe they are taking their cue from that. And I thought that in some of the expressions that that Crane had in this one, especially when his mom was kind of moving his face around, it almost looked like a Scarecrow mask in some ways. The way he was kind of playing around with his face when he was doing his expressions. I don't know. Maybe that's just me seeing too much into it. But I do think they are taking somewhat a cue from the plot points from Batman Begins when it comes to our water supply and everything else.
So it's not just me.
No.
All right. Yeah, it just seemed very similar to me. Or, okay, you're using the water supply. So it just seemed like a direct homage, maybe. I don't know. Hate to think they were ripping it off, but
no.
But that's it. But that's it. So, well done, Titans. You've now helped the Scarecrow with his plan, and now Crane can dose Gotham with his anti-fear toxin, which is why we see that final shot of Barbara still looking at that ominous puddle on her ceiling and watching the janitor or whatever clean up the mess on the floor in her office.
Do you think this will have any repercussions on the Titans, as in they might be considered responsible for this and so might be on the other side of the law?
Well, you would think there would be a PR disaster because, Starfire caused an explosion.
Yeah.
The question is, will they get blamed for it? And then, we've also see, and I don't know why this happens, the Titan signal is suddenly red. So did Jason get a hold of the Titan signal for whatever reason? Red Hood?
I don't know. But I'm glad they at least explained the Titan's signal in the sky. Because at first when the episode started, we got the tear, like, when did that happen? And then obviously there's the whole news code, like, okay, thank you for explaining that to me, because I was about to go on a rant on that, so I was happy about that.
Yeah, because apparently Barbara did it, initiated it.
Yeah.
Like her father, because remember, Commissioner Gordon used
the
bat signal to call Batman, so I guess she thought that Gotham City would be better knowing that the Titans were on the case now.
Yeah.
Instead of Batman. Because Batman is now, a fugitive, right?
And not to mention, so I guess now we have to assume the Titans have permanently moved to Gotham City. They're no longer going back to San Francisco.
Who knows at this point? I have no idea.
Because now they've got their own sign in Gotham City. You're like, I guess at this point they've moved to Gotham. They're not going back to
we're now Gotham's heroes now because, now that you hate Batman, I guess.
Yeah, we have to stay here. We can't go home once again. So.
Right. And I guess maybe they thought, or Barbara thought, well, maybe it wouldn't be fair if I just put up the Nightwing signal.
Yeah. I have to be fair to the others, I suppose.
Yeah, he's part of a team, so I don't want to cause him problems. So very considerate. All right. Anything else about this episode?
I just wonder where we go from here, because this is going to be quite a mess. I mean, unless, the next episode, which should be entitled Souls, I guess I wonder what that will imply, whether we will see the city rip itself apart, like in Batman Begins, and which is also the Scarecrow's plan, or this next episode does not address anything of this yet, and we get a separate episode because of what we saw, heard. You were telling me about trailers and stuff when it came to the next episode. So it might be the break where we go, we did leave some other characters behind. Let's go visit with them and see what's happening there, and not address this till episode 10 at this point.
So now that there's this big cliffhanger, now here at what is it going to be, like episode 9 next week?
Yeah.
We're gonna take a little break now.
I have a
cut
feeling
away
that
from
might
this.
be it.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think I don't know if we will get any of that, of this resolution of this cliffhanger.
Seeing as we have to bring in technically Raven and Donna and stuff.
At least at Donna, yeah.
So you might think that this is where they cut away. Granted, we only have 13 episodes, so it might be really weird to cut away when you're 9 episodes out of 13 to go. But
yeah, I mean, you should be building up toward your season finale.
Yeah.
And okay, now we're going to take a timeout. Okay. Whatever it takes.
It remains to be seen, but I'm thinking the title makes me really think it's going to be a Raven-heavy episode. Souls should be that.
Yeah, unless it's like a half and half. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
All right, favorite quotes. You have any favorite quotes?
I did have a couple when it came to the quotes.
Okay.
Actually, let me see if I can pull these up again, because for some reason now my thing decided to go totally nuts on me. Sorry about this.
That's all right. I've got some quotes if you want me to do that.
Yeah, if you want to.
While you're looking yours up, I can go with mine.
Sure.
Okay, so my favorite quotes, and hopefully I don't steal Nick's.
It's fine.
Let's see. Dick and Babs talking about going to the gala, where Dick says, "Hey, are you sure you want to go to this gala thing tonight?" Babs kind of sighs, and she goes, Yeah, Dick. And, Dick says, we could cozy up in the Batcave and watch the facial recognition comps. Crane and Red Hood are going to get flagged tonight. I can feel it. And Babs replies, you know what I can feel? My hunger pangs. If I don't get some hors d'oeuvres soon, I'm going to eat these poor goldfish.
That was nice.
So I like that. And let's see, Tim telling Dick, my dad got shot and the Titans put on a light show.
Great.
That was good. And my last one is Jason talking to Jonathan Crane about his plan, where Jason says, this plan is an effing joke, Crane, and so are you. And Crane is like, me? But I reached over to the other side, dragged you back to the world of the living. And Jason says, so you could use me? And Crane replies, yes, so I could use you. Life is transactional, my dear boy. Well, I gave you life. You gave me secrets about Batman and Dick Grayson and, what was his name? Hank?
Great one. Yeah, I love that one too.
Yeah, so those are my quotes. Did you find your quotes yet?
Yes, indeed I did.
Go for it.
The first one was actually from Blackfire, which utters the phrase which gives the title, I suppose, this episode, which says, I guess home is just in us, whether we have one or not, which I thought was a nice one.
Right.
And then the other one that I really stuck with me, because there were quite a few Jonathan Crane quotes which I liked, which I would have taken. But the one that I love the most, which I could almost see like engraved somewhere, where he says, I am both the dreamer and the thief. I think that was the really good one.
Yeah, that's a good one. He's a joker, he's a smoker, he's a midnight toker.
Yes.
All right. So what's your rating, sir?
Okay.
This should be interesting.
I'm gonna give this 7 out of 10 deadly canisters.
Okay. I am actually a little more generous than you on this one. Just a bit. So I'm going to give it 7.5 out of 10 Titan signals shining in the sky.
Very nice.
Yeah. So not a great episode. At least, I mean, it's okay. I mean, 7 is not bad, but it's a C grade if you're wondering. Titans Tower news. I don't have any Titans Tower news about the show, but we did get some feedback once again from Steve Sigmund. So, Nick, do you want to read Steve's latest email?
Certainly. First off, I love the subject line that Steve uses, Pink Haze and Broken Bed Frames, which I think is actually a better title than Home.
Yes, it is. I agree. Titans should be letting Steve do the episode titles.
Yes, indeed. So Steve writes in, hey, Charles and DJ Nick.
Hey, Steve.
Hey, Steve. Another great breakdown episode last week. Thank you very much. Glad you enjoyed it. Listeners may be getting tired of my musings, so I just wanted to share some quick observations, feedback from Titans Season 3, Episode 8, Home. I think I also speak for Charles here, where we'll never get tired of your musings, Steve. You always put some great ones out there.
No, keep them coming.
Amen. So, Steve continues. 1, Vincent Kartheiser is absolutely crushing it as Scarecrow. The way the actor is able to morph seamlessly from supervillain stoner to chaotic, rambling, emotional mess to a matricidal psycho and back again is amazing to watch on screen.
Points for using matricidal, by the way.
I have to say, yes, Steve words his emails so well. I really am. I'm really impressed.
I am impressed too.
Number 2, good news. Tim Drake is finally fully introduced. Bad news, and he's already been shot.
Yeah.
Yes, there is that.
Yeah, so sorry about your luck, Tim Drake fans, but yeah. Although I don't think he's dead. I don't think so either. Point 3 that Steve brings up. What's up with poor Gar getting constantly sidelined? Right?
Thank you.
Yes.
They spent 3 episodes weaving in a subplot of Gar Tiger Detective searching for Jason, only to have it end with him handing it off to Dick. That was pretty weak. It was pretty weak.
Although you just came out with a great title for a spin-off series, Tiger Detective.
I love it.
On HBO Max.
I'll take it any day of the week. Point 4. Even though I know we can't trust her, I'm entertained by the Supermance going on between Blackfire and Superboy. For someone who is described as having the mental maturity of a toddler in Season 2, Connell has certainly grown up fast. I wasn't exactly sure what was going on with the pink mist/haze underneath the bed before they broke it, but overall, the chemistry between the two characters is banging. Pun intended?
Too soon, perhaps?
Maybe too soon, but great. Yes, Steve will be here all week, ladies and gentlemen.
That's right.
So,
don't forget to tip the waitress.
Exactly. And finally, Steve's final point 5. Lastly, I'm not sure why the writers insist on including exposition about the, in inverted commas, indestructible sensory deprivation chamber Bruce built each time Starfire enters it, because it doesn't seem to matter in the slightest.
Nope.
It does not.
It does not.
Once she gets in, the next shot is always her waking up in a strange place miles away. So why mention the structural characteristics of the chamber at all? True, point taken. She might as well be using the bat hammock.
Trademark
Yes.
Batman. Yeah.
Exactly. Thanks as always for the fantastic show, gentlemen. It really is the best DC pod out there.
Ooh.
I'll be listening, Steve.
Well, thank you, Steve. Thank you for the fantastic email.
Thank you so much, and what a compliment.
Your emails are the best DC pod emails out there. How's that?
I will agree with that 100%.
Yeah, this is another great email, Steve. We really appreciate you writing in now and And hopefully that continues because your emails are fabulous and you're always so nice to us, and we definitely appreciate it. So guys out there, Titan Talkers, if you want to be like Steve, and you do, write to us, okay? Write to us at titantalkcast@gmail.com. That's titantalkcast@gmail.com. If you like the cool Steve, to do that. And otherwise, you can write to us or reach us on Titan Talkcast at Titan Talkcast on Twitter or Facebook, Titan Talk, the Titans Podcast, of course. We'd love to hear from you. We'd love it if you'd like and follow us, because obviously we want to grow our social media so we can reach more people. So if you're kind enough, you like what we do here, please share our work with your friends, share the links and help support the show, because we're trying to entertain you. And so that's one way. If you feel so inclined, you can help us if you want. So, we don't ask you to do that, but if you want to, we're more than supportive and appreciative of it if you do.
Amen. Yes.
All right. And Nick, where can they find you?
I also want to add, folks, if you are listening to this podcast on Apple Podcasts, we would really appreciate you able to leave us a rating or a review, because that always helps. So if you are, users of that particular platform, we would really appreciate if you either just leave a star review or write something up for us. It would really be great, because it also helps the podcast to get noticed and seen more. So we would really appreciate that a lot.
Yeah, you kind of have to goose that Apple algorithm.
Yeah,
a little bit. You gotta goose that algorithm.
Amen. Very much so. When it comes to me, when I'm not here with the wonderful Charles Skaggs, I can be found on the Whiskey and Cigarettes show, where I play traditional country, today's country, and everything else in between. More info about that, whiskeyandcigarettesshow.com. Podcast-wise, if superhero movies are your speed, I do host Happiness in Darkness, the superhero movie podcast, where we discuss all superhero movies under the sun. You can find us on Facebook and Twitter. And with the lovely ladies, Zan Sprouse and Rachel Friend, you can find us on Gold Standard, the Oscars podcast, where we discuss all the Best Picture winners from 1927's Wings to present day. Coming up, we will be discussing West Side Story, which I'm definitely looking forward to, seeing as also the Steven Spielberg remake is coming out later this year. So West Side Story is going to be on the table. And if you want to see the crazy stuff I get up to on Instagram, you can find me on DJ Nictagram. And what about you, Batman or Charles?
I'm Batman. Well, as for me, of course, when I'm not Batman, you can find me at Charles Skaggs on Twitter, at Charles Skaggs on Instagram. Facebook, of course, Charles Skaggs in Hilliard, Ohio, and my blog, Geeky Things.
Damn good coffee. And hot.
Damn good coffee and hot, where I talk about all the stuff we talk about here on Titan Talk. So Titans news, Doom Patrol news, all kinds of comic book sci-fi news and other podcasts that I do, at least for now, for the Southgate Media Group, where, including Next Stop Everywhere, the Doctor Who podcast, where Jesse Jackson, my partner in time, and I, we talk Doctor Who, Torchwood, Sarah Jane Adventures, Big Finish audios, and more. And coming up in a couple of weeks, we just finished discussing Kinda from the Peter Davison era. And that was a lot of fun. We had Dave Proctor joining us for that one. That was a lot of fun. So coming up in a couple of weeks, John Takis is going to be returning to Next Stop Everywhere. Nice. And we're going to discuss Horror of Fang Rock from Tom Baker's era. And that's a good one. It's a nice little Lighthouse Under Siege episode. Oh, yes. So, and it's got Fourth Doctor, Louise Jameson as Leela, and I think we're going to have a great time on that one.
It's always a good time when John's in the house.
Yeah, and it's going to be good to have John there and also Jesse, because I don't think the three of us have talked together for a while.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So I know I've talked with John, but I don't know. I can't remember last time Jesse was there with us. So that's I'm looking forward to that. And then Ghost with the Twin Peaks podcast and Drunk Cinema that I do with Zan Sprouse, Nick's partner on Gold Standard, where right now we're on hiatus. But Zan Sprouse and I have recently sat down. We've mapped out our schedule when we're going to get back on track now that Zan has mostly recovered from her gallbladder surgery.
Yep.
And coming up here this coming week, we're going to be recording Ghostwood and discussing The Hidden, the 80s movie featuring Kyle MacLachlan, who, of course, played Special Agent Dale Cooper on Twin Peaks as part of our Twin Peaks Actors and Other Movies series. And then the following week, which should be around the 1st of October, we are going to be doing on Drunk Cinema, we're going to be discussing, we were going to do Hot Fuzz, but now for October, we're going to be discussing Alien. And Nick is very excited about this. I still need to get a hold of Zan because I want to get Nick to join us on that.
I'm like Tim Drake kind of rapping on the door saying, I want to be in this podcast.
Don't worry, I'll keep all your secrets, right? Yeah. I know how the rules work. Yeah. So I want Nick to join us for that. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And, if you've seen this Ridley Scott classic, you know how good it is. So it's like the creme de la creme of sci-fi horror, as far as I'm concerned.
And it spawned a huge fat franchise after all.
Exactly. And, catapulted Sigourney Weaver into stardom in the process. So this is the film that put her on the map, among some other notable actors as well. So, yeah. So we're going to have a lot of fun. So stay tuned for that. We're coming back. We know it's been on hiatus, like I said, but Zan's getting recovered and we're getting back on track. So stay tuned, everybody. So that's what I've got going on. Nick, hope you had a good time talking home. I know I did, even though the episode wasn't that great. Yeah. It had a lot of flaws, needless to say.
We had some laughs. It was a good time. I'm looking forward to seeing where we go from here when it comes to Souls. I mean, you and I have been kind of speculating about what will come then. And it's always a joy podcasting with you, Charles. I always look forward to this part of the week. It's, nice, the week is over, the weekend's here, and, amongst these things, hanging out with you. So, hey, I can't complain. And getting great emails from folks like Steve, it's just the icing on the cake.
That's right. I can't imagine, spending my Saturday nights not talking Titans with you at this point.
Thank you, sir.
So for episode 66, next time on Titan Talk, like DJ Nick said, Souls we're going to be talking about, the 9th episode of Titan Season 3, where at long last, we get the return of Tegan Croft as Raven, by all accounts. And not to be outdone, if that isn't enough to come back, well, hey, Doom Patrol Season 3 starts this week as well. So that means we're going to have 4 episodes to discuss. 1 Titans episode and 3 Doom Patrol episodes because they're doing the exact same thing they did with the beginning of Titan Season 3 by releasing 3 episodes at once. Yeah. So it's going to be a huge episode of Titan Talk as we not only discuss Souls, but we discuss the first 3 episodes of Doom Patrol Season 3, Possibilities Patrol, Vacay Patrol, and Dead Patrol. So if you're a Doom Patrol fan, I hope you're looking forward to Season 3. I know I am because I love this show so much. And it's been off far too long as far as I'm concerned. True. But it's going to be a little weird because we've got Titans. Normally we alternate. Like we go Titans, Doom Patrol, Titans, Doom Patrol. But now for the first time, HBO Max is releasing both of those shows at the same time. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to have to wrap my head around that and try to keep the show separate. I don't know about you, Nick.
It's going to be an interesting experiment, I think. So I suppose they're going to be with us for a large part of also the Doom Patrol episodes. But I guess eventually it will just be Doom Patrol. But I think it's going to be an interesting contrast. I'm looking forward to discussing 3 episodes of Doom Patrol in one sitting. And, of course, the Souls episode from Titans. This is going to be a fun one, I reckon.
I have no idea how we're going to do it, but we're going to do it.
We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out. Okay, so don't worry. We got it covered. So if you're wanting to write in about Titans, we definitely want to hear your feedback. Like I said, titantalkcast@gmail.com. Or you can, if you want to talk Doom Patrol, write in about that as well. We want to get your thoughts on the first 3 episodes of that, too. So if you're a fan of one show or the other, or both, we want to hear from you. All right. So, Nick, thanks again. Everyone else, thank you for listening because you guys are fantastic. And come on back, episode 66, as we talk Souls and the first 3 episodes of Doom Patrol Season 3, right here on Titan Talk, the Titans podcast. Goodbye, everybody.
Ciao.